Joining us virtually momentarily, but we're going to go ahead and begin out of respect for everybody here. So we're going to begin with, we're going to kind of work around the agenda to try to be respectful of everyone's time. So item one will be an appointment, and this is, wow, this is somebody from the beautiful 2nd District. Our first will be appointment for the Baltimore County Ethics Commission, and it's Mandy Heinel. Ms. Heinel, thank you for joining us today. Come on up. Oh, yeah. So welcome back, Ms. Heinel, and tell us a little bit about yourself. I think many of the council members know you.
Yeah. Okay, there. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the council. Thank you so much for having me today. I know most of you. My name is Mandy Heinel. I am a lifelong Baltimore County resident, mom of 2, hopefully lifelong Baltimore County residents. I'm an attorney at Saul Ewing. I've spent the last 15 years in government, many of which were spent working in this body. I'm really excited at the idea of serving as chair of the Ethics Commission because I really believe in good government. I believe in instilling the public's trust, and I'm excited to be a part of that. So I'm happy to answer any questions and just appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Heinel. Do any of the members have any questions and remarks?
Good to see you, Ms. Heinel.
Good to see you.
Councilman Crandall?
Oh, Ms. Heinel. I have a lot of questions. No, I actually don't. You and I have had many conversations over the years, especially when you work with Councilwoman Allman. Spirited conversations, if I remember correctly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And although they were spirited and we may have had disagreements on, certain issues, your professionalism, your sense of right and wrong were never in question. And I did enjoy those conversations, even though we might have been on the other side of the issue here and there. But I have no doubt that you will be an asset to the Ethics Commission. And congratulations on your nomination. I'll look forward to voting for you on Monday.
Thank you so much.
Councilman Jones?
Yes, Ms. Heinel, first of all, so good to see you.
Nice to see you.
And I, too, look forward to voting for you. I have known you for many years and have always had tremendous respect for you. I've seen your growth. I've seen you go into law school, and I thought maybe we lost you to the corporate world forever. So it's so good to see that you're willing to come back and give yourself and your time to public service. So I look forward to it, and I know you'll do a fantastic job. Thank you. Sure.
Okay, do any of the other members have any questions, comments? Councilman Young? Okay. Yeah, Councilman Young?
Okay. Ms. Heinel, no, since everybody else said the same thing, it's good to see you again as well, making some of the same comments. I've known you for years. Honestly, like if you would have asked or would have seen like what position would there be a place for you to put your strength to work, the Ethics Council is absolutely, and Commission is absolutely the perfect place for you. So look forward to seeing you and also working with you and seeing how we can be helpful to the work you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may add.
Councilman Crandall?
Yes, Mandy, I just wanted to say that you, not only with your work in public service with Councilwoman Allman, I thought that you were a great representative, Senator Van Hollen, and I remember not only you being very responsive to our office during your time with the senator, but you were one of the first people outside of Baltimore County government that I heard from the morning that the Key Bridge collapsed. And I just want to let you know I appreciate that sentiment that you sent over. Appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Mandy, I want to thank you for stepping up to be part of the Ethics Commission. I know you spent much of your lifetime working to make the 2nd District a better place, and also Baltimore County a better place. And so I want to thank you for that, and thank you for all that you are doing now and all that you will do into the future to make our county the best place it can be. And thank you
so
for
much.
stepping up. Thank you, Ms. Heindel. Okay, our next item will be Acting Fire Chief, Scott Ebert. Good afternoon, Mr. Ebert, Chief Ebert, if you'd like to say a few words.
First, I would like to acknowledge the dedication and the leadership of retired Fire Chief Joyce Ron. We are grateful for her work to move our fire department in a positive direction. I'm deeply honored to address you today as we discuss the critical role of leadership with the Baltimore County Fire Department. My name is Scott Ebert, and for over 25 years, I have proudly served in various capacities within our department, culminating in my current role as Assistant Fire Chief. My journey in firefighting began at the age of 16, joining the Providence Volunteer Fire Company, where I would eventually advance to the rank of captain and continue as a life member there today. I had the opportunity to attend and graduate from Baltimore County's high school firefighter and EMT program in 1997. This foundational experience ignited my commitment to community service, and I began my career with Baltimore County as a police dispatcher after graduating Parkville High School in 1997. 2 short years later, I fulfilled my dream of becoming a Baltimore County firefighter. I'm a lifelong resident of Baltimore County and currently reside in Parkville, a proud dad of a 17-year-old son who's along for the ride today, a 7-year-old daughter who gave us both permission to be here. Throughout my tenure, from my early days as a firefighter EMT to overseeing the fire department administration and support service bureaus, I've been dedicated to upholding our department's core values, ensuring the safety and well-being of our communities. During my time in emergency operations, I've had the pleasure of serving in some of our busiest and most deeply rooted communities, such as Catonsville, Towson, and Fullerton. I've held various critical roles within support service bureaus, including training and education, health and safety, and the fire investigation unit. These experiences have highlighted the importance of effective leadership and collaborative, informed decision-making. Currently, I contribute to the Labor Management Relations Committee, where I advocate for our department's needs and objectives to best serve the citizens and visitors of Baltimore County. As we look forward in my role as acting fire chief, I intend to focus on a vision for the fire department that emphasizes both mission and people. Our mission remains steadfast to serve with courage, compassion, and professionalism. Equally vital is our commitment to our personnel, the backbone of our operations and our most valuable resource. Central to my vision is a mission-first, people-always approach. I am dedicated to empowering our firefighters and EMS personnel, both career and volunteer, with the resources and support they need to excel. I aim to foster a culture of innovation and continuous improvement, ensuring our readiness to meet the evolving challenges of our communities. I intend to pursue new creative recruitment initiatives, such as reestablishing the high school program in partnership with BCPS that will create an exciting opportunity for young adults and a pipeline for new recruits. I envision a department where proactive leadership, transparent communication, and collaborative engagement with our community and stakeholders are paramount. Upon selection of a new fire chief, we will continue to build upon our strong foundation, leveraging new opportunities to lead and innovate in the fire service. I look forward to working closely with this council to ensure our department continues to uphold the highest standards of service and safety for the residents and visitors of Baltimore County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share? Councilman Marks?
Thank you for the responsiveness you've demonstrated in your position so far. Out of curiosity, what part of Parkville are you in? District 3, 5, or 6?
Right off Harford Road,
Okay,
so Topaz, right in downtown Parkville.
there you go. 6.
Scenic Six.
The Scenic 6, yeah, absolutely. Thank you again.
Councilman Jones?
Chief, I just wanted to thank you so much for your long years of service and have a very distinguished career and appreciate you stepping up. And I'm sure you'll do a wonderful job. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chief, thanks again. I'll also agree with your responsiveness and your willingness to step up while we go through a hiring process for a new chief. I want to make sure I also preface this. I'm asking this question because I believe you know the answer to it, and it's not supposed to be seen as a gotcha, but I think that what you've showed at this point and leading up to this, that your experience with the fire department has a relatively nuanced answer. The relationship between rank and file, our officer corps, and the unions, in terms of how, in your role, while you're serving as acting chief, how imperative is the strength of your relationship with union representatives and our rank and file related to disciplinary actions, as well as moving forward with the resources and budget that we have in place for you?
Very important. It's something that we focus on in labor management relations now, strengthening that relationship with the union, ensuring that transparency takes place and communication is paramount.
Absolutely. And you have that experience too. I know that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any additional comments from the members? Chief, thank you for stepping up. Appreciate you coming in today.
Sir, thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is somebody I worked with for many, many years, Elizabeth Sachs, Acting Director for the Department of Aging.
Anyway, if I tell you something, could you?
Good afternoon, Ms. Sachs.
Okay, there we go. Pull up. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to members of the council. I really appreciate the opportunity to come before you today and ask for your support in confirming me as the acting director of the Baltimore County Department of Aging. I have spent most of my career in government positions, including the last 5.5 years here in Baltimore County. And in my current role as a Deputy County Administrative Officer for Health and Community Services, I have a range excuse me, of departments, including the Department of Aging, but also HHS, DHCD, Rec and Parks, and libraries. And truly, this role has given me a broad window into the work of all of these county departments that provide services and support to some of our really most vulnerable residents. And of course, the Department of Aging is no exception. I had the pleasure of working the last 5 years with recently retired Director Laura Riley. And of course, her shoes are almost impossible to fill. And I've seen firsthand now the past few weeks that she is such a strong and nimble team. And I'm continuing to be impressed by the capabilities of this award-winning department that Laura both led but also helped build over her long career. And as all of you know, the work of this department is critical. It's no secret that almost 25% of our county's population is age 60 or older. And even with that cohort, as our residents become older and the percentage of even older residents grows, we continue to have higher demand for our services, particularly assistance with daily living needs, as well as cognitive and caregiving challenges. So in this acting capacity, I look forward to working with the team that Laura assembled, whom I'm already working with closely, to implement a new strategic plan that they will be releasing shortly, and particularly to tackle the emerging needs of our even older residents. I want to add this, as you may or may not know, I've learned this recently, that we are unique in having a standalone department dedicated to our older adults. I learned during COVID just how critical this was. Our senior centers were a network for food distribution, and the MAP line that they run really was a critical hotline for all sorts of needs, even beyond our older adult population. So I'm really looking forward to serving in this acting role. We are in the process of seeking a permanent director, but I thank you for your support and this opportunity, and I can answer any questions you might have. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Sachs. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share? Councilman Jones.
Yes, Ms. Sachs, I just want to thank you so much for being a good all-around player here in Baltimore County. You've been a tremendous utility player that's been stepping up at a number of issues, and this is yet another one that you're willing to step up, and I'm sure you'll do a wonderful job, as you have been doing so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any, Councilman Crandall?
Sure. Hi, Ms. Sachs, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. I agree with the sentiment that you've been involved in so many important things in Baltimore County throughout the years, and including recently, including projects that are dear to the 7th District, as you know. Forgive me if I'm out of line on this, but we did question, I think it was Samir, when he was taking over as acting head of economic development, workforce development. Do you envision this as a full-time or permanent assignment moving in the future, where you would no longer be acting but actually the director? Or are you, like Mr. Sid was basically saying, I'm here until we find someone? Is that a fair question?
That's absolutely fair.
Okay.
We are in the middle of a search process, but I wanted to make sure you knew that I was dedicated to the role while I'm serving in it. And I'm also already working very closely with all of my departments, and aging is no exception, but I'm a little more in the weeds during this acting time and learning a lot, quite frankly. So,
Sure.
But I can assure you part of the role is to look for a permanent director for this department.
Okay, very, very good. We don't doubt your capabilities, that's for sure. But yeah, just wanted to clear that up in my mind. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Any additional comments from the members? I'll just say this, Ms. Sachs, I've known you for a long time. We've worked together in the state of Maryland. I think you were with the Department of Labor, if my memory
was.
serves me correct.
Yes.
And I've always thought very highly of you, Elizabeth. And not only that, you've always been a top-notch professional that wasn't out to get a pat on the back, even though you deserved it. You've just done your job. You've done it at an extremely high level. And you've done that. I knew that was your attitude at the state of Maryland and here in Baltimore County, where we've worked together again. I think you're one of the unsung heroes of the administration, where you're capable of making very difficult decisions. You're a straight shooter, and you don't really ask for that any credit. Your credit is given by your professional demeanor. And so I thank you for everything you've done for Baltimore County, and you can look forward to me supporting your nomination.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have, another friend, Jyoti Mohan. Is Miss Mohan here? Is she remote? Okay. And this is for the Baltimore County Animal Hearing Board. Hello, Jyoti.
Councilman, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you for stepping up, and if you'd like to say a few words, please feel free to do so.
Sure. Hi, my name is Jyoti Mohan. I live in the very, very lovely 3rd District of Councilman Catch, not too far from Councilman Catch, in fact. And I am nominated for a position on the Animal Hearing Board. I'm a pet owner, but also I've been, really interested in animal rights issues and the important role that animals play in our lives. And so I look forward to bringing what I can bring to the table for the Animal Hearing Board.
Thank you, Ms. Mohan. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share? I'll just say a couple of things. Councilman Catch, you'll be happy to know that Ms. Mohan, she called me the other day and she left a message on my voicemail that said, "This is Jyoti Mohan, and I know I'm calling the beautiful 2nd District, but I'm living in the even more beautiful 3rd District." So I thought, I've got to share that with Councilman Catch. But I think you've just secured his vote for your support, and you've always had mine, and I think the other members will think highly of you as well. Jyoti, thank you so much for stepping up.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Councilman Catch.
I have 4 votes. So, and they'll all be yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Catch. Do any of the members have any additional comments or questions? Okay, thank you, Ms. Mohan.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is okay, this is Councilman Marks.
Thank you. Resolution 30.
Yes, Resolution 3724.
Thank you very much. Resolution 3724 encourages the Baltimore Gas and Electric Company to lessen the impacts of the Brandon Shores Mitigation Project on affected communities, residential neighborhoods to the greatest extent possible. By way of background, in April 2023, the owner of the Brandon Shores plants, Talon Energy Corporation, gave notice that it plans to deactivate the Brandon Shores plants as of June 1st, 2025. In order to alleviate the burden on the regional power grid, BGE has proposed a large transmission upgrade project known as the BGE Brandon Shores Mitigation Project. This is a pretty substantial project. I know BGE has briefed the council on this, but it will affect Middle River, White Marsh, Falston, and many other areas in eastern Baltimore County and southern Harford County. We understand that there's a lot of costs involved with remediation. However, I do feel it is my job as councilman to advocate for the communities I represent. They are concerned about the impact of these expanded capacity on the character of the rural communities, but they're also concerned about the impact of the project on fire. A lot of the areas where this is proposed are not within the public water system. Fire hydrants are not easily available, and there is a concern that with this increased capacity, you will have increased danger of fire. So I would like to thank all of the constituents who are testifying today. I know Delegate Ryan Naraki is with us today. I thank them for their input and hope that BGE can work with us on ways to remediate the cost of this project.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Councilman Marks? Okay, do we have any speakers on this, Ms. Belcastro?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do have.
Ms. Belcastro is going to address that. We have, Ms. Belcastro is going to call out speakers.
They'll call up, John, they'll call up everyone in order.
Go ahead, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly. Our first speaker is Delegate Ryan Naraki, who is on virtually.
Okay.
Delegate Naraki, you are on.
Apologize. There we go. Mr. Chair, thank you. Members of the County Council, it's always great to see you. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words this afternoon. Appreciate it. I just want to thank the members of the Kingsville, Perry Hall, and White Marsh Middle River communities for those that have organized to fight for their communities in this new transmission line process. I'm here today to support Councilman Marks's resolution 3724. This resolution aims to lessen the impacts of the Brandon Shores Mitigation Project on affected communities and residential neighborhoods to the greatest extent possible by burying the transmission lines. This is especially important in these rural areas that we both represent that often lack very adequate access to public water. These lines are also going to run through historic neighborhoods and environmentally sensitive areas that should be protected, as well as where overhead transmission lines could adversely affect the public's health, safety, and welfare. Of the highest concern for myself and others in the community are areas in particular in between the Little and Big Gunpowder rivers. Those areas are very wooded and obviously lack, since they're outside of the Erdel, lack adequate access to public water there. I'll just use one example. There was an issue in the Paradise, California in 2018. There was something called the Camp Fire there. And it was directly a result of a failure of a transmission line component, a hook that held the insulator to the tower. This tragic fire resulted in the loss of 85 lives. Many, for instance, were elderly folks that could not get out of their homes, as well as many others who were trapped by the quickly moving wildfire. I know that the last thing that we all want is something like that to occur here in Maryland, particularly in an area like this where there is a lot of forest. And so we're fully in support of Councilman Marks's resolution, and we would encourage BGE to strongly consider this to bury these lines to protect the community. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Delegate Naraki. Do any of the members have any questions or comments for Delegate Naraki? Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much, Delegate Naraki.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks again, Delegate Naraki. And Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our next speaker is also virtually. It's Dr. Mark Kuka. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Doctor, you are on. You may begin your testimony.
Dr. Kukutka?
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yes, we have you.
Good afternoon to the Baltimore County Council. My name is Dr. Mark Kuka. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Dr. Mark Kuka, and my family has been living in Kingsville since the 1960s. I want to provide testimony in opposition to a proposal from BG&E to construct new poles and towers to run next to existing pole towers in our rustic community. Sometime in the 1940s, lattice-style towers and transmission lines were first constructed that ran through Kingsville, Maryland. These lattice-style towers and transmission lines remained intact and performed as intended for over 70 years. In 2016, a proposal was advanced by BG&E to replace these lattice-style towers while also upgrading the transmission lines to 115 kilovolts. In 2017, the project was completed with a stretch running through Kingsville, beginning in Baltimore County at the Little Gunpowder River at its northern point and continuing 2.94 miles to the Big Gunpowder River at its southern point. Then again, in 2021, BGE came forward with a second proposal to reconductor the monopole towers that they installed in 16 and upgrade them to double circuits capable of carrying 230 kilovolts. That project too was completed shortly thereafter. Now we find ourselves for the third time in 8 years that BGE is again proposing another upgrade, this time to build a second set of towers and transmission lines next to the existing towers and transmissions lines they constructed just 8 years ago. BGE held its first community meeting regarding this latest proposal virtually earlier this year online. Many questions were asked, but few answers. Well, the answers were few and far between. BGE held a second community hearing at Perry Hall Senior High School a few months ago, and once again, numerous questions were posed, but there were few answers from the front people of BG&E. We've been told repeatedly that someone from BGE would follow up with us using email, but that has never happened. Many of us in the Kingsville community have questioned if this project is really necessary, given the two previous upgrades in the past 8 years. We have also advanced several alternatives to consider versus the rush to construct new towers and transmission lines. Some of the alternatives include, please note, grid enhancing technologies such as dynamic line ratings and topology control software, which can significantly expand grid capacity by up to 40% with a payback period of months. A payback period of months, not years and not decades. Number two, use the existing infrastructure already in place, the pre-rusted towers, and upgrade them and the power lines with a capacity capable of carrying 500 kilovolts versus the 230 kilovolts they do today. Number three, employing distributed energy generation like geothermal, solar, and wind where feasible, along with more battery storage of electrical power. It's
Mr.
interesting to
Dr.
note that
Kukuka,
all of
can you
these three
summarize, please?
alternatives that I just outlined would occur much faster than the building of new powers and transmission lines. If a new transmission line cannot be installed, then I'm advocating for the underground burial of these power lines where feasible. There is a technology called So Green, and that's SOOGREEN.com. Yes.
Dr. Kukuka, we've given you a lot of time beyond the 3 minutes. If you could summarize, that would be helpful, please.
Yes. I'm asking for Baltimore County to oppose BGE plans as currently proposed. I'm seeking a redress of community concerns and the reasons why some alternatives can't be or won't be considered. I'm urging for our representatives on the Baltimore County Council to oppose BGE's current plans, pass this resolution in opposition to BGE's proposal. And I'm also asking that if this resolution is passed, for Baltimore County to act as an intervener to halt this BGE project. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Dr. Kukuka. Any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share? Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much, Mark. And you touched on battery storage unit, which we're going to be discussing in a separate piece of legislation. So thank you.
Okay, any additional comments? Okay, thank you, Dr. Kukuka. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our next speaker is here in person, and it's Emmanuel Demos. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Come right up, yes.
Good afternoon, council members and guests. I live in the Kingsville community.
Can you state your name, please?
My name is Emmanuel Demos.
Thank you.
I live in the Kingsville community. I have one of these poles 60 yards, maybe closer, to my door. It sits on the easement that Baltimore County has. Baltimore County, or BG&E has. BG&E is supposed to maintain this property, so I'm told. My neighbors and I have been maintaining this property for 20 years. Once every 3 years, BG&E comes out and cuts the grass. If I cut my grass every 3 years, I think I'd be hearing from the county. Right now, below my house, some of the grass has been allowed to grow. It's 2 to 3 feet tall. I can walk out there right now, take a piece of grass, bend it, and have it snap. It's so dry. Those lines are right above this. If something happens, this stuff will burn like California, Hawaii, and other places around the country. We don't have public water. We don't have the hydrants, as everybody has said before. We have forest land all around us, and our homes are at risk. There's got to be an alternative to this. I heard the doctor. I like his ideas. Something's got to be done. And I'm hoping the council will back alternatives to this plan. And lastly, this whole thing by Baltimore Gas and Electric has been completely non-transparent. They've told us we're going to have meetings. My wife has contacted them numerous times and been told, oh yeah, we'll have a meeting, you'll be invited. Never heard a word from them. I didn't even know about the meeting last week. So this whole thing has not been transparent. And again, we hope that Baltimore County, the council will back us in finding alternatives to running these double lines. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Our next speaker is Lynn Zink, who is on virtually. Ms. Zink, you are on as a panelist. You may begin your testimony.
Yes, hi, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to help us express our concerns. As we've said, I'm Lynn Zink, and I'm speaking on behalf of the entire Zink family that consists of 37 family members. We are in support of resolution number 3724. There's nothing safe about having large, high voltage power lines in our backyard. With the existing large set of power lines, we are already concerned for our safety because of the danger of EMF exposure. We're concerned that many of the power lines run adjacent to the woods, and wood is fuel for fire. We are concerned about potential wildfires and the fact that there are no fire hydrants in our community. We are concerned about the impact on property values and on our family farm, and of course, all of our neighbors as well. The one set of power lines is already commercializing a historic community. Now that BG&E has plans for yet a second line of these high voltage power lines, our concerns are not only doubled, let's just say our concerns are off the charts. Please support the process of burying the power lines. In doing so, you will be looking out for the safety of our community. You will help us not lose money on our biggest investment, which is our home. And you will help us maintain a historical residential community instead of commercializing our area. So thank you so much for caring about our community. And thank you for taking the time to listen to our concerns.
Thank you, Ms. Zink. Councilman Marks?
Yeah, what Ms. Zink is referring to is Franklinville as a county historic district. And then these lines come in right between Franklinville and Upper Falls, which is not an official district, but has many of the qualities of a district. So.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our next speaker is here in person, and it is Jerry Withers.
Okay, Mr. Withers, thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Jerry Withers. I live in Kingsville. I've lived in Kingsville since 1956. Kingsville, Maryland is a very rural area. We're very lucky to have David Marks as our councilman. He really goes above and beyond to serve his constituents. And basically, I'm here to support Councilman Marks' resolution bill number 3724. I support the installation of underground transmission infrastructure. Safety is my main concern for the lives of people, wildlife, small planes, line exposure, fire risk, and property values. And I would like to know, why is it that we have to import power from Pennsylvania? Why is it that Maryland is so anti-fossil fuel, crazy? It basically boils down to power and corporations, money, and control. I went to the meeting at the Perry Hall High School. It was right before Memorial Day. I was impressed with the meeting. They had about 25 BG&E or Exelon employees there. But again, they have done nothing. And I'm going to contact them via email. I have all of the handouts that we were given and the promises. And again, the questions, there's just so many unanswered questions, problems and issues. I mean, Kingsville, again, is a very coveted area. We don't have water and sewer. It's rural. We want to keep it that way and keep it safe. So I just hope that all the council members will vote, for David Marks' proposal number 3724, because I'm going to do a lot of writing, a lot of emails, a lot of letters to BGE, Exelon, councilmen, senators, of which I love to do. I like to kind of stir the pot. I'm a kind of stir the pot kind of guy, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Withers. Okay, Ms.
Mr.
Belcastro.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Katz.
Thank you very much.
Speaking of stir the pot guys, Councilman Katz.
The last speaker really hit the nail on the head. This whole issue with the need for energy from another state is occurring simply because the state of Maryland is, number one, closing power plants that are powered by fossil fuels or by coal. And it's all part of the green agenda. And so what's happening here is because of the closure of a power station in Maryland, because by the way, power stations in Maryland that rely on fossil fuel and coal have a date where they're all going to be closed. And so that's why we need power from other states, because we're not building any power plants. Calvert Cliffs, there's been two proposals to add to it for more electric generation. They've never been built. One of the things that I would suggest that everyone do, and this is hitting my district, actually, I guess somewhat worse than the Kingsville area with the Piedmont Reliability Project. What has to happen is with your communication with the state legislature, with your state senators and delegates, please urge them to push for new energy sources, for new power generation in Maryland itself. It'll reduce the need for these lines, et cetera. And by the way, this particular project, the BGE project, will provide energy for Marylanders, whereas the Piedmont Reliability Project, which is going to go through my district, provides power to the state of Virginia, not to the state of Maryland. So, we all support cleaning up the environment, et cetera. I would say is this, we're talking about electric cars, electric, everything electric. I don't know where we're going to get all the electricity. I really don't. But what I would like to see is not support one sector of the power industry by, let's say, just supporting electric cars. We need to promote other alternatives. I have a lot of faith in the private sector. And I know the private sector is working on other sources of energy. In fact, other kinds of cars that run on alternative energy. So we need to do that. When you think, and on top of all this, the electric cars we're selling in Maryland, if you live in a townhouse, it's very expensive to get a EV charging station for you to use. So I think as a country, we're going too fast. I think there's more alternatives out there available. And please, again, urge our state senators and delegates to push for more power generation in Maryland. And also, last thing, the Public Service Commission is the key group in this entire battle. They will be the ones approving the path and approving these projects. And in fact, for the Piedmont project, they'll be the ones approving whether or not the company who's installing this will have condemnation powers in case an individual is refusing to sell their property for this new power line. So I appreciate the resolution that Councilman Marks has. And we really got to get people together and focus in where it's going to make the most difference. And again, it's the Public Service Commission and the state legislature. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Catch. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Our last speaker for this item is John Von Paris, who is here in person.
Right over to Mr. Von Paris.
My name is John Von Paris, and I'm here today with my wife Patty, representing concerned citizens and 81 members of the Von Paris and Baruti families in support of Councilman Marks' resolution number 37-24. We are lifelong residents of Upper Falls in Kingsville, raised our family here, and are actively involved in the community. I'm a proud life member of the Kingsville Volunteer Fire Company. We do not claim to be experts. We are concerned about the radical and rushed BGE proposal to expand more dangerous power lines through our community, next to our homes, and through many other residential properties and homes within the area. These lines started with two 230,000 volt lines and went from 2 to 6 to 12, and now BG&E wants to add another 12, making it go from 2 to 24 230,000 volt lines. Our main concern is the risk of wildfires. We referenced the Paradise, California wildfire caused by a power line failure that took the lives of 85 people. The woodlands and the fields in the power line along the Gunpowder State Park would provide fuel necessary to support wildfires. I refer you to the wildfire risk to community maps of the wildfire route corridor, which is along Gunpowder State Park. Southern California Edison has agreed to underground miles of power lines. Pacific Gas and Electric has an initiative underway to underground the majority of their power lines. Why is BGE still installing overhead power lines while the industry and the future is all about undergrounding these lines? It is also important to note that in Baltimore County, as mentioned by other speakers, between the two gunpowder rivers, there are no fire hydrants, and if there would be a fire, it would have to be tanked in. A study, and people mentioned EMFs, electromagnetic fields. A study in California in 1979 found a possible link between electromagnetic fields and childhood leukemia. Concerns are valid and well documented. EPRI's Program 60, which is funded by the electric utilities, including BGE, are spending surprisingly $2 million this year researching EMF health concerns on humans.
You can continue.
I just have a thank you.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry. We thank Councilman Marks for supporting this important resolution. We have also, I would like to thank Delegate Shalega and Delegate Nawaki and Delegate Arikin and Senator Jennings for also, all of them 100% behind our initiative here to ground these lines. And I'd like to thank the members of the Baltimore County Council for letting us speak today.
Thank you, Mr. Von Paris. Councilor Marks.
Mr. Von Paris, I want to thank you, Patty, thank you all for your exemplary leadership. Mr. Von Paris is a leading business owner in Baltimore County, also very active on the Maryland Transportation Authority, just a superb a gentleman and a real leader on this issue. And thank you to all of those residents of Kingsville who attended today. We will continue to talk to BGE and try to achieve the remediation we expect with regard to this project. Your attendance matters, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Crandall?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilman, I assume that you've been in touch with representatives of BGE?
Yes. And to their credit, BGE has attended several meetings, some smaller, some larger. We are looking forward to the larger meeting at Perry Hall High School. Again, we understand the need here. We are simply hoping for some measures that can improve the safety of the Kingsville area. Our biggest concern is the fire issue, and we'll continue to have those discussions.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Chair, I also want to agree with Councilman Katch. I mean, this issue, although it is more specific to the Kingsville area and that part of Baltimore County, it is indicative of a situation where policy is not in alignment with reality. And, I've had discussions with BGE over the past couple of years, including discussion of this particular topic and this particular project, given that the lines do extend into the 7th District, not nearly the amount of impact, not even close to what you all are describing here today. But when you have a situation where public policy, both on the federal level and on the state level, is to move towards electric, when we already have an overburdened grid, is that alignment, that misalignment of policy and reality that I'm talking about. I think that when you look at agreements that the home building industry has made nationwide, and I believe has made in Maryland and Baltimore County, that new homes must be electric homes and not fueled by natural gas or oil, presents an even bigger burden than just electric vehicles do. And when you have a grid that is already overburdened and policy that says that we are moving towards full electrification of the entire country, that does not add up to a very sustainable or workable model for our country's energy needs moving forward. I understand that this body does not have the authority to dictate statewide or certainly not federal policy, but it's something that we should all be thinking about as November approaches, not making a pitch for one candidate or another in any race. But energy policy, as our nation moves forward, as our state moves forward, and even our county, needs to take into account that if we move towards full electrification, projects like this are going to be coming up more and more because we simply do not have the power, the electric power, to take care of the burden that is being proposed by so many of these policies. So I just wanted to echo Councilman Katch and cast that warning that this probably will not be the last issue of its type that will come before this council and into Baltimore County neighborhoods. Wanted to bring that to light, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Okay, Ms. Belcastro, is that the last speaker on that?
That's the last speaker for this item, sir.
Thank you. So we're going to move on to item 6, item on page 60. This is Department of Housing and Community Development. Ms. Marsha Williams, are you here, Ms. Williams? There you are. And this is the pilot at Hopkins Village Housing. Usually you're here to the bitter end, Ms. Williams, but we're going to try to get you to earlier part of the agenda.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Councilman. I would like to present to you a pilot request for the Hopkins Village Housing LP. They're seeking to acquire, rehabilitate, and preserve affordable living for existing senior residents located at 3 Brent Court in Essex. It was originally built in 1979 and last renovated in 2008. The property consists of 165 units, of which 164 one-bedroom units designated for persons aged 62 and older with disabled adults. Hopkins Village operates under a project-based Section 8 housing assistance payment, and it's in a contract with HUD, which covers 100% of the property's residential units and ensure that the tenants pay no more than 30% of their annual income. Most of these units will be below the area income limit of $51,360 as an individual, and for 2 in a household is $58,680 two-person bedroom. The renovations will include interior work, modernizing of existing common areas, repairs of mechanical, elevators, and roofing, ADA accessible compliance work, new landscaping and exterior lighting, paving, energy efficiency upgrades, new free community-wide Wi-Fi that will enable each pendant system to monitor resident medical emergencies, and the creation of a new wellness center comprising of a consultant and exam room, along with a nurse on staff. Their request for the pilot is that Hopkins Plaza is requesting a 20-year pilot commencing on July 1st, 2025, of $300 per unit for the first year, with an annual escalation of 2%. Payments due annually in arrears. The tax payment shall be made prior to the payment of any debt service on the property. The difference between the amount of the stipulated payments in lieu of taxes remitted to the county under this agreement and the amount of the full real estate taxes which have otherwise been based on the assessed value of the property shall be repaid upon the termination of the date. Any payment under this provision shall be limited to the extent of available proceeds after repayment of all debt and other obligations which constitute liens on the property. And there will be a recorded security agreement and a deed of trust that will also indicate this information in it.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Ms. Williams?
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Crandall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Ms. Williams. How are you?
How are you, Ms. Crandall?
Thank you once again for your work on not only this, but several other projects just like this, or pilots just like this on the east side in Baltimore County. I think that these programs are a benefit to our constituency that sort of sometimes lacks a voice in their own quality of living. And I think that these programs have been successful in updating some of the older apartment complexes that we have throughout Baltimore County. Can you just sort of give us a brief sort of synopsis on how successful these programs have been? And then one particular item is, have we had, in the past, have we had any defaults?
No, we haven't had
these?
it.
Okay.
Councilman Crandall, we have not had any defaults. The thing with our senior population is that there is a waiting list. And most of the folks that live in our senior housing projects are either downsizing or have no alternative place to go. Because what our senior housing is doing now is doing wraparound services, making sure that they're able to stay until they transition even out to another unit with a family member, or, you know, go on to greater heights. But We haven't had any defaults in our senior programs or housing that we have assisted here in Baltimore County.
Okay, thank you for that. And how are we doing over in Turner Station?
We're coming along, sir.
Okay.
We're working on another
I
special.
know there's a bit of a challenge there
Yes.
after we had executed this.
Right.
Yeah.
With the Turner Station project, we're still working with that developer. That agreement expired in 2023 with us, but we are still working with them. We are trying to put in some other initiatives to help to retain that, especially in Day Village, to help to retain the units and keeping them affordable for the residents that reside there.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that. Thank you for all your efforts.
Okay. There was one question that was presented to us, and how would we monitor the renovations of this project? I have a tremendous staff, and we will assign either our project manager or one of our specialists to go out during the renovation period and make sure that it's in accordance with the guidelines set forth here as far as renovations in Baltimore County.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Okay, our next item is page 7. We have HT, also known as Horacio Tablada, to talk about Department Resolution 3624.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the council. It's a great honor to be before you today. My name is Horacio Tablada, or HT, as the councilman said. I'm the Director of Environmental Protection Sustainability for Baltimore County, and tomorrow is my 1-year anniversary with the county, by the way.
Oh, congratulations, HT.
Yeah, thank you for those years, those days.
Would you mind, HT, if we gave you a little applause to celebrate a one-clap applause?
If you feel like it, it's fine.
So we're going to give HT a one-clap applause, and this requires
Just one.
everyone's participation. At the count of 3, we're going to just do one clap.
Just one clap.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Perfect.
Congratulations, HT.
Love that. Thank you. I'm here today seeking approval of Resolution 3624 to endorse the recent amendments to the county's critical area modified buffer plan. And there is a technical amendment that we submitted that goes with it. Back in basically this modified buffer area, what we'll do is we allow certain establishments, primarily marinas and restaurants, waterfront restaurants, to access the waterfront, just like it happens in other counties and other places of the state. And in exchange for that, since the critical area is very restrictive, is that there's not, in exchange for accessing the waterfront, they will provide stormwater improvements to the property. So this property, most of you know, as in Baltimore, especially Councilman Marks and Crandall, that these marinas are really in small areas. Most of them are in communities. So it's different, these marinas, than the ones in and around the county or Ocean City or some other counties in the Eastern Shore, where they have more property. So because they're in a tight spaces, then what we decided to work with them is allow them to get to the water edge in exchange to improve the stormwater requirements that they're not required to meet. For example, they'll be able to have green roofs and some other requirements that will collect the stormwater and provide water quality improvements to this in exchange to getting closer to the water. Now, how did this start? Well, back in November of 2022, there was a group of marina owners met with the department at the time and the Critical Area Commission, and they say, hey, we need to do something similar to what happens in other counties because our business model has changed, as you know, after COVID. More people want to be outside, want to be next to the water, enjoy the sunset. So they wanted to be in proximity to the water. And we had this restriction that would not allow them to get near the water. So we began working. My staff have a very highly qualified staff, and they began working with the Critical Area Commission. And for the year 2023, when I first started, we've been working very diligently and came up with this compromise where we let you get closer to the water, but at the same time, you back off in some other parts, or you install stormwater practices, which will improve the water quality tremendously. So we resulted in early this year into what's now these exhibits 1 through 4, and we get into the Critical Area Commission, who is a statewide organization in the state government. And so the commission looked at it, they made suggestions, and we made the changes, and there we went to, at the end of April and beginning of May, the subcommittee voted to approve the Critical Area Subcommittee. It's a very technical committee. It's approved the changes. And then on May 1st, the commission as a whole voted in support of the changes. And I want to thank Councilman Young because he's the Baltimore County representative in the Critical Area Commission, and he voted in favor, was 100% vote. And you know, there are people from all over the state in this commission. They're not looking at just Baltimore County. With this, we like the endorsement of the council, and we wanted to come, because we have talked to you, some of you individually, different times, and about this issue. And really, this is a very successful win-win for the local marinas and restaurants, but also for the environment and water quality and the Chesapeake Bay. So with that, I request that you approve the resolution with the technical amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Tablada. Does any of the members have any questions? Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. Councilman Young, thank you for your support of this on the Critical Areas Commission, body that I also served on. I really appreciate that. HT, thank you for shepherding this through the process. And thank you to my colleague, Councilman Crandall, as well. We were both at the meeting in November 2022 with the marina owners. There is an important balance here, right? The Baltimore County's waterfront is precious. It's beautiful. We want to preserve it. At the same time, we want to make sure that the restaurants and marinas along that waterfront have a good economic climate to prosper. I think you've achieved that balance, and I want to thank you for all your leadership, as well as the county executive support.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Councilman Crandall.
Yes, Mr. Chair. HT, thank you so much. I mean, Councilman Marks alluded to the meeting we had almost a year ago. Seems longer. It may have been longer than that. So that was sort of the very first meeting that your department very graciously accepted and heard the concerns of marina owners and other constituents. And in that meeting, we had asked that you come up with some common ground and figure out a way, as Councilman Marks said, to just reach a balance and reach some fairness with that we might be able to enjoy that other counties in Maryland enjoy. And your agency and yourself took that very seriously. Took that request very seriously, and it seems like that's something, that balance and common ground is something that you've worked hard to find, and looks like you found it. So we appreciate you and your team's effort on this.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Marks?
Thank you. Mr. Boswick, I'd like to be added as a sponsor of this resolution.
Mr. Boswick, if you could add me as well, thank you.
Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Boswick, if you add me as a sponsor as well.
Will do.
Okay. Thank you, HT.
Thank you, sir.
And congratulations again on your one-year service. HT, you've done really well over this past year. I think my colleagues would agree.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Okay, our next item is, we have Bill 4824, and we have Ms. Valencia Banks to speak on this.
Mr. Chair, she's on virtually.
Okay.
She is a panelist right now.
Okay, Ms. Valencia Banks, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the council. First of all, thank you for allowing me to join you virtually. COVID is still a thing, and I would hate to get anyone else sick. My name is Juliana Valencia Banks, and I have the privilege of serving as Baltimore County's Chair of Immigrant Affairs. The administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of private funds from the American Immigration Council, totaling $27,000. These funds are going to be used to support the implementation of the county's Welcoming and Belonging Strategic Plan. We launched this plan in April 2024. Thank you, Chairman Patoka and Councilman Young, for your support during the launch. The Welcoming and Belonging Strategic Plan was the culmination of a year-long consultation and community forums led by the New Americans Task Force. The efforts were supported by the Gateways for Growth grant from Welcoming America and the American Immigration Council. One of the recommendations that we found across the entire plan was to increase awareness about services offered by Baltimore County government, state agencies, and nonprofits that are serving members in Baltimore County. Funding will be used to host Baltimore County's Welcome Week Community Resource Fair on September 14th, which I would like to take the opportunity to invite each one of you to visit us that day at the beautiful Randallstown Community Center. We will also host 2 workshops around tenant, worker, and immigrant rights, as well as host a immigration legal services screening clinic with a nonprofit partner. These funds will go a long way in ensuring that Baltimore County fulfills its duty to welcome and embrace our new neighbors. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity and look forward to a successful few months implementing these plans.
Thank you, Ms. Valencia Banks. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share? Okay, Ms. Valencia Banks, take care of yourself and get well.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is Bill 4924, Building Code of Baltimore County, and we have Director Pete Gutwald to speak on that.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council. Bill 4924 replaces the 2015 Building Code with the 2021 International Building Code, the International Residential Code, International Mechanical Code, Model Energy Conservation Code, and International Swimming Pool and Spa Code. I will just highlight 2 areas that and modifications or changes. One was, and I hesitate to say this, but in light of earlier testimony, but we're accommodating standards and putting standards in for EV charging stations in single-family homes. So they are EV ready. That is consistent with the state requirements. And in commercial structures, that's making sure that there is proper fire suppression and that there are no EV charging stations below grade. The other 2 big changes that we've modified is that we are taking the sections that deal with piers and fences. You may be aware that they're both piers and fences show up in the building code, and they're also in the Baltimore County zoning regulations. We're combining them as part of this bill to put them all in the Baltimore County zoning regulations to make a consistency. A lot of it was redundant to begin with, taking those pieces out and then adding the pieces that were in the building code and putting them in the zoning regulations. With that, look for your favorable.
Thank you, Mr. Gutwald. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Gutwald? Okay, thank you, Mr. Gutwald.
Thank you.
You've had a couple of good years too, Mr. Gutwald.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, our next item. Okay. This feels like a bit of deja vu, but we have Bill 50-24, Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance. And I'll speak on this, and then if any of the co-sponsors would like to speak on this. So let's start at the beginning. In 2020, there was a work group that was established, a task force to look at adequate public facilities. It was done by council resolution. And there was an objective to this whole process, very simple objective, and that objective is to reduce overcrowding in Baltimore County Public Schools. There's a belief that if you reduce overcrowding in schools, you have a better chance of providing a quality education to residents in Baltimore County. So in 2020, in March, a group of subject matter experts began to make a set of recommendations based on the expertise that each of the members brought together. They prepared a set of recommendations in November of 2020. In November of 2020, the recommendations were done and they sat inexplicably dormant for 3 years. So now we have we brought it forward in, I guess, the spring of this year, and we had a couple of public hearings. We passed Bill, I think it was 3124, is that correct?
Yes,
Mr. Secretary?
Yes.
So 3124, we had lengthy, really long public hearings on this. I think everybody had a chance to have their say. We came up with some compromises, and it was passed by this body. The county executive vetoed that bill, and then on July 1, this council overrode the veto. Now, keep in mind, that's Bill 3124. Now, we have for August 5th, during this legislative work session, we have Bill 5024. And how does Bill 5024 differ from 3124? Well, we heard from many of the stakeholders, and there are two kind of major changes, I would say, that Bill 5024 differs from Bill 3124. One is that this committee that was identified in Bill 3124, which in that bill was binding, in this bill it becomes advisory. So that's one major change. The second major change is that it acknowledges that we have more work to do with the voluntary compliance agreement of 2016. So it allows for an exemption on units required to fulfill our agreement on that 2016 voluntary compliance agreement. And that's kind of a basic summary of where we are today and where we were just a month or two ago and where we've been through much of 2024 right now. So with that, I'll stop, and any of the co-sponsors, if they'd like to share a word or two. If not, that's okay as well. Councilman Ertel.
Chair, I'll just say a few quick words. You covered it pretty well. We acknowledged when we passed Bill 3124 that we needed something in it about the VCA. So this corrects that. The committee being advisory, while the original bill had it as a binding committee, we feel like this is a committee that just really needs to get to work. One of the things that we've never had in Baltimore County is a public board that just deals with school overcrowding. And ultimately, this is going to be a great thing for the county because it's going to shed some light on the issues that we have in Baltimore County with school overcrowding I think the committee they'll make reports that will go to the county exec, they'll go to the school board, they'll come to this body, to the county council. And ultimately, that's a great thing, because right now, all that work is done under the BCPS Department of Strategic Planning. And often that information is not readily available or readily shared with the different bodies in the county. And so, as we've always said, we need to get the vehicle on the road, and hopefully, as we sort all these things out, that body will really start to do some good work for the county in identifying emerging trends that, where we see overcrowding, where neighborhoods turn over, where new projects are being proposed, whatever's causing the overcrowding, that we hopefully will get on top of it sooner than later and deal with it before it becomes a crisis, which is often the way we've dealt with overcrowding in Baltimore County. We're always being reactive, and we're looking forward to hopefully having a board that makes us be a lot more proactive about school overcrowding than we've ever been before.
Thank you, Councilman Ertel. Any of the members have any additional questions? Councilman Jones?
Yes, I'm just going to offer a few dissenting comments.
Okay.
First of all, to be absolutely clear, this bill doesn't do anything, has nothing to do with school overcrowding. This is an anti-housing bill. That's all it is. That's all it's ever going to be. The schools didn't ask for it. In fact, the county executive and the schools all stood on one side doing the veto. So this bill is to try to make it a little better. But the reality is we're right back where we started, because no one has engaged the schools. No one knows whether or not we're doing what they really want us to do. The schools say that they have 176 schools. 10 of them are overcrowded. And this budget will address all 10. So this bill is a solution looking for a problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Jones. Any of them, Councilman Crandall?
Hi, Mr. Chair, thank you. You'll notice that I was not a sponsor of the original bill, and I'm not a sponsor of, what are we on, 5024? I'm not a sponsor on this one either, and that's because I've had misgivings about both of these. I'm not going to offer a dissenting opinion as strong as Councilman Jones, and I won't repeat my misgivings about the original bill. But specific to 5024, as far as the committee becoming advisory instead of having approval authority, I'm wrestling with this one, honestly, simply because on one end you have a committee that should have been formed a long time ago, and especially in an advisory capacity. My reticence for a committee to have approval authority is based on the fact that land use decisions ultimately become political. And these decisions, especially when you're talking about substantial development in the number of units that we would be talking about that would substantially change a neighborhood, those are always contentious and involve a lot more of a lot more data in order to make those decisions than just school capacity. School capacity is certainly a component, and I think by bringing this issue to light, we've made it more of a component than it ever has been. But there are folks that are elected to make these decisions, whereas a committee would not be elected and being made to make political decisions and quasi-judicial decisions. And there's only one citizen board that I'm aware of in Baltimore County that has quasi-judicial responsibilities, and it actually is a judicial body, and that's the Board of Appeals. The Planning Board rarely has authority to make decisions, but a committee in an approval fashion would be unprecedented in Baltimore County. I'm not so sure that that is the right thing, because a person put on the committee to serve a certain term would not be elected and would not necessarily have to answer to the people. So on the other hand, school overcrowding has become quite a hot button issue, and people definitely want a larger say in it. So this is why I'm wrestling with this aspect of 5024 and have not yet made up my mind whether to offer an amendment to the bill or not. The second component is the VCA component, and I just find this this provision in 5024, I find it to be, I'm just going to say, just highly hypocritical. What difference does it make if the development being proposed in an overcrowded school district is 184 apartments, 125 townhomes, or 200 units of affordable housing? What difference does it make what type of housing it is if it's adding kids to the school system? So it seems that the drafters, and I'm going to assume the sponsors of this bill, are trying to make a concession to the housing advocates that were against this bill in the first place. But having a VCA exception and putting it all on the county attorney flies in the face of the overall spirit of the bill. So I'm not quite understanding why that provision is in there. It just doesn't add up to me. And Mike, I know what you're going to say. It's all about the different, it's about the type of unit that would be constructed. Is that what you're going to say?
No.
Oh, well then I don't know what you're going to say. Well, it can't be that brilliant then if I didn't think of it. Okay. So I just, the VCA component of this bill to allow for affordable housing to circumvent the spirit of the bill, I think is inconsistent with what the sponsors were after in the beginning. And as I stated in a work session or legislative session in the past when we were dealing with the original bill, one of the things that really got me over my misgivings about the original bill and its efficacy and how impactful it could actually be was that I have a particular area in my district that the General Assembly in their infinite wisdom said that Baltimore County's regulations would not apply if that particular developer wanted to go after a project with affordable housing. And APFO was a mechanism to put in another layer of protection on that particular property that is in the jurisdiction of the most overcrowded school in Baltimore County. So what we're doing by putting this provision and voting for this provision, this VCA provision in this bill, is saying that we agree with the General Assembly that we will abdicate our land use authority in Baltimore County. And that I simply cannot get on board with. I just wanted to make that point. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the time.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Councilman Ertel?
Councilman Crandall, you make a good point. And when we had conversations about this, I was one of the ones that often would say that I felt that it was unconscionable that some of the housing advocates would advocate that we should build at all costs, and that they would build a building knowing that a school is grossly overcrowded. This VCA piece in this new bill basically covers the last 250 units that we're getting to, and it's limited to the 2016 VCA. So this is not really a carte blanche pass to any developer, including affordable housing, that you get to build in a school district that's overcrowded. It's just merely helping us finish getting to those last 250 units, which hopefully and theoretically will be done in the next 2 to 3 years, and it may not even be part of, the percentages coming down from where we are anyway.
Thanks, Councilman. I understand exactly what you're saying. However, if we are going back to the original VCA and the map that was included in that settlement agreement, the area that I'm talking about in the 7th district that could absolutely not handle the amount of density being proposed either as fee simple or as affordable housing, it simply cannot handle that density. And I am looking for any protection for that property that I can possibly come up with. And this, as I said, this piece of property is in the map as one of the few spots in the 7th district that would be eligible under the VCA map. So you can appreciate my concern.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman Ertel and Councilman Crandall. Any of the members have any additional comments, questions, concerns, thoughts? Okay. Ms. Belcastro, do we have any speakers for this item?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, let's move on it.
Our first speaker is Mary Taylor, who is here in person.
Okay, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Adam. Good evening. My name is Mary Taylor, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I am an Essex resident, been for 65 years. I'm in Councilman Crandall's district. We all appreciate Councilman Crandall very much in our district, by the way. However, I am here as the Vice President of the Baltimore County Parent and Student Coalition. We represent over 5,000 parents, community members, and actually employees of the Baltimore County Public School System. And we're here tonight to wholeheartedly supported Bill 3124 because it was based on the 2020 APFO Task Force recommendations, which were data-based and created by a committee with diverse representation. Bill 3124 put forth a solution for a long-standing problem within the county, overdevelopment without ensuring necessary infrastructure, specifically school capacity. We appreciate the council's efforts creating, sponsoring, and passing into law with the veto override. Thank you, Councilman Crandall. In our opinion, 5024 is not clarifying legislation. It completely dismantles the checks and balances of good government that were adopted by passing 3124. We are concerned that Bill 5024 removes the most important details of Bill 3124 and renders it ineffective. Did you consult any of the representatives of the 2020 APFO task force? What were their thoughts on the changes? Because the original recommendations were also based on compromise. We have concerns about the exemption of attainable housing. Why place vulnerable families in communities where schools cannot accommodate them and meet their children's needs? We understand that this exemption is specific to the remaining 250 units of the 1,000 units in the VCA. This exemption is not open-ended, correct? Thank you. Our coalition's main concern is with the change of the Committee on Public School Capacity. There is a precedence of other appointed committees within Baltimore County government having more authority than just advisory. For example, the BC Planning Board. So we are unsure why the committee's ability to issue approval certificates were removed. We request that you restore the legal role and responsibilities for managing school overcrowding, including the certificate issuance process as set forth in the APFO defined in 3124. We request that you rename the committee the Adequate Public School Capacity Board. We request that you restore the MOU between BCPS and the county and restore the certificate issuance process in its entirety. May I have a couple more seconds,
Yes, you
please?
can.
Provide the committee reports as requested. We would like the committee to retain the ability to endorse development's proposal to mitigate school impact. We would like the committee to coordinate with the county officials, BCPS superintendent, BCPS Board of Education, and the public when reviewing relevant information to formulate advisory recommendations. We want the committee to utilize recommended enrollment yield factors in its analysis of the impact of approved development. The development review and approval process was recommended by the task force and repealed in this bill. Repealing this bill, we would encourage the council to restore it in 5024. My last thoughts in summary is we appreciate the council's efforts to do what is within county's government power to ease and reduce overcrowding in BCPS schools by creating the original Bill 3124 and ensuring it passed into law. And we understand the need for compromise and editing because this is a new process. However, we think Bill 5024 removes too much of the responsibilities of data gathering, analysis, approval from the Committee on Public School Capacity, and encourages the sponsors to offer amendments to restore the role as recommended by the APFO Task Force. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Ms. Belcastro, next.
Thank you, Mary. Always good to see you.
Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Eric Rockel, who is on virtually.
Okay, Mr.
Mr. Rockel, you're on as a panelist.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. I'm speaking today against this bill, and particularly when I reviewed this bill, my memory went back to the governor's housing expansion and affordability bill of 2024. When that was first introduced in January, it had as its two main functions certain incentives to affordable housing, as well as certain limitations on local government in instances where the governor felt that their role would interfere with affordable housing. Specifically, the bill had a prohibition against height, parking, and other type of typical zoning requirements. And at that time, as first introduced, it also said that APFOs could not be applied under that bill. Maryland Association of Counties came out and favored the ability of localities to keep APFOs. Ultimately, the legislature at the state level considered that question and removed the exclusion of APFOs from the governor's bill that was signed into law and exists today. So I ask myself, if the state legislature felt that APFOs should apply to affordable housing, why does this bill 5024 want to remove APFOs from the consideration with regard to affordable housing? My second point would be, I'm concerned since many of these affordable housing projects will only contain 10, 15, maybe up to 25% of the units to be affordable units. If this provision in the bill carries, are we going to just allow occupancy of those affordable units, or would the entire development, both the affordable and unaffordable units, be given occupancy? I thank you for your time. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Rockel. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Robin Campbell, who is here in person.
Okay.
Good evening, gentlemen and Councilman Koch. Nice to see you remotely. My name is Robin Campbell, and I am a Hampton Elementary School parent from Towson. and I worked hard with my neighbors and friends over the past 3 years to support the Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance reform. I am here in part to celebrate the council's brave override of the county executive's veto. But I'm also here to object to Bill 5024, the so-called clarification that threatens to reverse your accomplishment. Nothing is more important to the future of Baltimore County than our children's education. As our county's leaders, you have a moral and legal obligation to provide our children with quality schools, and that means ensuring their classrooms are not overcrowded. My neighbors and I have two overriding objections to Bill 5024. First, the APFO committee should not become advisory. And second, we do not have to trade education for housing. Having participated in several school redistricting processes, I know that BCPS student count numbers are consistently and structurally out of date. I also know that the county fails to adequately alert school officials about planned development in school areas. Consequently, the current system has been unable to do the planning necessary to accurately provide sufficient school facilities to meet student population needs. Collecting this information accurately would be the primary responsibility of the committee, and it should be able to enforce the APFO rules when the formula shows there are not enough classrooms, and issue certificates when the criteria are met. Supported and affordable housing are also critically important needs, but we must not sacrifice our children's education to meet those needs. If it is necessary in order to reach the agreement of the VCA, a simple amendment creating a path to a waiver, given explicit public approval from BPS officials, could solve this problem and also satisfy housing advocates. As currently written, Bill 5024 all but guarantees that children living in new supported or attainable housing will go to schools that are overcrowded. There is absolutely no moral higher ground in that. Please protect the original APFO legislation. It is best for kids, it is best for communities, and it is best for the future of Baltimore County. And I want to add one last thing. If there is anybody from the press who is here, I would like to make myself available to speak in more detail and on the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Katz.
Robin, I thank you and your group for all the work you've done on behalf of Bill 3124. I am working on an amendment to 5024 that will, after a period of time, restore the committee's power to approve development plans when they do not overcrowd a school. And I've passed that amendment on to the co-sponsors of this bill. And as soon as we get to talk about it and see if it needs any changes, we'll be glad to provide you with a copy of the amendment and of course the rest of the members of the council. Because I do think that, one of the concerns was that this commission really needed the opportunity to get the information they need in order to do the job. So that's, and no one was really sure how it was going to work. So that's the reason why the advisory part is there. But I'm in total agreement with you. Let's give them the power that was in 3124, but the amendment will phase in that power over a certain period of time. Again, thank you very much for all the work that you and the others in the group have done to be advocates for the adequate public facilities legislation.
Thank you for being responsive to your constituents, and I look forward to looking over that amendment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Campbell. Thank you, Councilman Katz. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Josh Sines, who is on virtually.
Hey, Mr. Sines, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. This bill would seem to undo the hard fought for APFO that we supported in limiting development in overcrowded school districts by making it advisory only. That being the case, we have to oppose this bill. I have to admit I'm very confused by these two bills. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I hope you all could make it make some sense. That being said, I have another a fiscal note I'd like to speak on that I was not able to do online. Would that be okay?
Yes, go right ahead, Mr. Sines.
I'd like to voice our support for the allocation for the Middle River Small Area Plan. We are very much looking forward to working together on that plan, and we hope the council will support that. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Sines.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, there's a little confusion there.
Oh, no, take your time.
Our next speaker is Renee Hamidi, who is,
I saw Ms.
oh, is that on the next
here.
one? My apologies. That was the last speaker for 50.
Okay.
My apologies.
Thank you. Okay. Our next item is Bill 5124, zoning regs permitted in RC4. This is Councilman Catch. Page 9 for anyone who's following along. Councilman Catch.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill will state simply in a property that's zoned RC4, where public water and sewer is available, that long-term care and nursing home facilities can be located there. I want to remind everybody that RC4 land, 70% of it must be put in permanent conservation. So we're really not giving up anything with this particular bill. So again, public water and sewer has to be available. And the 70% requirement is still in place. And it's simply to locate long-time care and nursing facilities on the property zone RC4.
Thank you, Councilman Catch. Do any of the members, we still have a quorum, okay. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share? Okay, hearing none, thank you, Councilman Catch. Next item is 5224, design review errors, Overley, Rossville, Commercial Revitalization District, Councilman Marks and Ertel.
Thank you very much. This legislation would require a design review panel consideration of structures that are placed in this area that is basically along Bel Air Road, stretching from the Baltimore City line up to the Fullerton area. The design review panel, as you know, includes architects and other experts who evaluate the aesthetics of new buildings. As development occurs in this area, it makes sense that this is an area where there should be that heightened level of review.
And as a co-sponsor of the bill, we see the Bel Air Road corridor especially as one that could use some additional oversight in new design and hopefully making it one of the challenges we have with Bel Air Road. It is the original national highway in Route 1, and it still functions mostly as a highway, and there's a lot of growing pains of how we're going to redevelop and how functional design and we just feel like this is a great area to have design review to kind of look at all the different angles that we're doing to keep these communities viable and taking them into the new, into the next generation, basically.
Thank you, Councilman Ertel. Councilman Marks, do we have any speakers on this, Ms. Belcastro? Any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Okay. Okay, next item. We're going to move around here. We're going to go to Bill 5424. This is data centers and energy storage devices. Councilman Marks.
We've had some discussion today about the complicated nature of energy these days. This bill would allow for the battery storage unit in certain areas of Baltimore County. Specifically, it would allow for units on property within the Chesapeake Bay critical area. Also, the site of an energy storage unit must be a minimum of 30 acres and located within 1/2 mile of a transition line. This legislation is very narrowly focused. It would apply to properties such as that at the CP Crane plant in Middle River. We have been working for the past 2 years to preserve much of this area as a new public park. I would like to thank the county executive and our state legislators and federal representatives for their support with this. Under the arrangement, about 80 acres of that property would be conveyed to Baltimore County, again, for a new public waterfront park. So a part of the CP Crane property would be retained, and this type of use would be allowed. This is exactly what we should be doing. This is a former coal-powered power plant, and we are repurposing that site for use as a battery storage unit. And this does not have wide-ranging implications. We're not touching areas that are outside the critical Bay region, but it will make possible for the county to consummate a deal that allows for a new 80-acre public waterfront park in Middle River. So I urge for you to favorably support Bill 5424.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Councilman Marks? Hearing none, we'll go to the speakers. Ms. Belcastro, first speaker, please.
Now it's Renee Hamidi is our first speaker.
Okay, Ms. Hamidi, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman Batoka, council members. Thanks so much for the chance to speak tonight. I'm Renee Hamidi, representing Values Planning Council. Some Baltimore County residents have gotten quite the education about data centers and transmission lines during the past few weeks. The Maryland Piedmont Reliability Project, or MPRP, is a transmission line traversing Baltimore County farms, residences, and open space, much of it preserved, on its way through Carroll County into Frederick County. It's planned to serve data centers. Bill 5424 would allow data centers and energy storage devices by right in 5 zones. Allowing any use by right requires careful thought to avoid unintended consequences. For instance, there's a line in the bill that says, if located in an RC5 zone, the site of an energy storage device shall be a minimum of 30 acres and located within 1/2 mile of a transmission line. Can that be a brand new transmission line? Could we be looking at another MPRP in rural areas to supply power needed by data centers? We heard a lot of testimony today about Resolution 3724, encouraging BGE to lessen the impacts of the Brandon Shores Mitigation Project and to bury transmission lines underground where feasible, especially in rural areas that lack public water to extinguish potential fires. The MPRP is not planned to be underground. Who knows if another project on the scale of the MPRP will be needed to serve in whole or in part data centers and energy storage devices throughout Baltimore County, with miles of 150-foot tall towers along 150-foot wide rights-of-way, ruining farms and obliterating preservation easements all over the county and potentially causing fires on its route. Maryland is already importing 40% of its electricity from other states, and Maryland's electricity needs are proposed to double by 2040. This bill seems to open the door wide to data centers in the county, increasing our electricity needs and leading to more projects on the scale of the MPRP. I am generally opposed to any special legislation that tailors a use to a specific site. I think I understand why this legislation may be required. I just hope it can be further tightened up to avoid those unintended consequences.
Thank you, Ms. Hamidi.
Thank you.
Do any of the Councilman Marks?
Oh, thank you for your testimony, but also for your organization's many years of advocacy, your steadfast support of the urban-rural demarcation line, and your support for land management. I truly appreciate the work you have done. We will do our best to tighten the legislation. This legislation is very important to the area I represent, which has not had the benefit over many years of being blocked from development. But I just wanted to say I do respect your opinion and I respect the work you've done. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. And as I think I mentioned to you in an email, I'm really for the 80-acre park.
And we appreciate that. Thank you for your good work.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Ms. Hamidi. Any additional questions? Okay. Renee,
Mr.
thank
Chairman.
you. Oh, Councilman Katz.
Thank you very much. This comment or question is for Councilman Marks. I would like to amend the bill to not allow these centers to be built on prime and productive soil. Would that be an issue for you?
Well, I would have to see the amendment first.
Well, that's the amendment.
Right. Well, and I would have to talk to the administration, which has been involved in these negotiations. But again, the purpose is to rehabilitate, to use a former power plant. So hopefully that can be accommodated.
Well, prime and productive soil is found in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Ohio. It's very rare. It's very, very rich. It is some of the best soil in the world. So we really can't afford to give it up. And by placing buildings on it, we had a problem with solar panels on prime and productive soil, and we've lost, I forget how many acres. I think it's about a couple hundred acres due to solar panels. So if you keep that in mind, thank you.
Thank you. And I certainly understand your concerns, Councilman. Thank you.
Thank you, council members. Thank you, Ms. Hamidi, for standing ahoy while Councilman Katz and Councilman Marks were exchanging thoughts. Okay, Ms. Belcastro.
Our next speaker on this item is Josh Sines.
Oh, Mr. Sines again.
Yep, back again. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. My name is Joshua Sines. I'm the president of the Essex Middle River Civic Council. We are an umbrella organization representing 27 community organizations in the Middle River, Essex area. We are testifying in support of Bill 5424. This bill is an integral part of obtaining over 80 acres of waterfront property for a future park in the Bowleys Quarters, Seneca area. As you know, our area has experienced a tremendous amount of growth with very little open space. This is a step in the right direction in obtaining more parkland for our residents. I'd like to thank Councilman Marks for his support for the last 2 years in obtaining this property. It certainly wasn't an easy task with many fluid parts. But from the beginning, we knew that a battery storage building would be needed with the loss of the CP Crane power plant. So I hope you will look favorably upon this bill. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sines. Ms. Belcastro, do we have any additional speakers?
You have one more speaker, Mr. Chair. Mary Muth, who is on virtually.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes, we can hear you.
great. Good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm Mary Muth. I am president of Bowleys Quarters Improvement Association. Our association supports Bill 54-24 because it furthers our goal of acquiring the CP Crane property or Carroll Island as park land. Our goal has always been straightforward, and that was to to reclaim that land for parkland instead of a housing development. We've been fortunate to work with county and state leadership to make that happen, and we're so close. We definitely believe in protecting our waterfront and making it available to as many people as possible. The repurposing of this obsolete power plant would be a great win for Baltimore County. This unique site definitely calls out for preservation. Foley's Quarters Improvement Association members have been aware of the negotiations and the value of a compromise to allow us to acquire the parkland. This concession is thought to be much more favorable than a housing development. David Marks has been very upfront with us and stood beside us to acquire this land, and we thank him for that. And we definitely support 5420-24. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Ms. Belcastro, do we have any additional speakers?
No, that is all.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to the next item then, and this is, we're going to circle back to Councilman Young, Bill 5324, and this is butcher shop in the BL.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 5324 clarifies permitted use in the BL zone. Current use didn't have a butcher shop, but allowed other types of organizations that might have a type of butcher shop inside. So working with the department, we clarified and allowed for this specific type of use in the BL zone. If you have any questions, happy to answer any, and appreciate the support.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Young. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Do we have any speakers on this item, Ms. Belcastro? Okay. Okay, thank you, Councilman Young. We'll move on to the next item, and this is Councilman Marks, CZMP notice to owner removal of posted notice.
Thank you very much. Current county code charges the county government with putting up the notices for comprehensive zoning map process issues, but is silent on their removal. We've been working with the administration to clarify language that requires that those signs will be removed. I'd like to thank them for their partnership on this.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Okay, next item. We're going to go into fiscal matters now. And so the first item on the fiscal matter is DPWT contracts, heavy-duty towing. Ms. Buckler.
Good evening, member of the council. For the record, I'm Lauren Buckler. I'm the acting director for DPW&T for Baltimore County. I'm here before you with an item for towing. We have two contracts, one with Rockdale Towing and one with Ted's Towing Services. These contracts are for time, equipment, incidentals to provide towing services for Baltimore County owned vehicles and equipment with a maximum gross weight of 36,000 pounds. In Baltimore County or Baltimore City, the contractors have to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and respond within 30 minutes of notification. We use this when we don't have equipment available to get larger vehicles, things like our medic units, fire apparatus, dump trucks, sewer trucks, if they need to be towed back to equipment maintenance within DPWT. Happy to take any questions you have about this contract.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Buckler? Okay. Yes, Ms. Buckler, I have just an unrelated item to this fiscal matter, but I'm getting a bunch of texts during this council meeting related to a water outage on Bittersweet Road in Scotts Level, part of Pikesville, and they're really suffering in that neighborhood with no water and this heat, and there's lots of seniors. So if you could elevate that on however you do your prioritization.
I'll reach out to my counterpart in Baltimore City and find out what's going on, let you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Ms. Buckler. That's it.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Didn't mean to preempt you, Chair.
Did anyone have any questions, comments, or thoughts? I thought I said that. All right. Ms. Buckler, thank you. Thank you for the assist, Councilman Bertel. You were? Oh, okay. You can if you want. Okay, next item is Amy Mante from the Department of Planning related to consulting services for design.
Good evening, Chair and members of council. This contract is for consulting services for the first small area plan. The small area plan process was outlined in the recently adopted Master Plan 2030, originating as a recommendation in Public Works LLC's efficiency review. One of the efficiencies identified for our department was the development and implementation of a systematic approach to completing countywide small area plans as a follow-up to Master Plan 2030. This first plan will focus on the Middle River area as designated in the map adopted in Master Plan 2030. Using the county's master plan as a guide, the contractor will work with the county on developing a plan that provides area-specific recommendations for achieving and refining goals in the master plan. The plan will include a concept vision and recommended actions that resonate with the community and address key issues and concerns. The small area plan process will be used as a template for future small area plans in the county. Collaboration with the contractor is also crafted to develop leadership within the Department of Planning. This process will include training that enables community planners to lead engagement activities in this first plan and then lead the process in subsequent small area plans. The contractor will also bring on CH planning for transportation planning issues and strong environmental for environmental planning issues to complement this effort.
Thank you, Ms. Mante. Any of the members have any? Councilman Marks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mante. Thank you for your presentation. Josh Sines alluded to this earlier. This is a very key milestone for the Middle River area. As you mentioned, it's the first community planning effort since the adoption of the master plan, and many of us are very excited about this opportunity for Middle River. So thank you.
Okay. Any additional questions? Ms. Mante, did you say that this would create a template for the staff to do in-house?
Yes, that is the hope, yes.
Yeah, that's great. Because it's short, I mean, I think this council and the master plan recommended that we strengthen our capacity to do small area plans. So appreciate you following through on that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, next item, and we have Chief Ebert again for Digitech Computer Billing Services, EMS.
Good evening again, members of the council. Fire Department is asking you for your support of a contract with Digitech Computer for EMS billing. The Fire Department has been billing for EMS transport since 2015. Currently, the Baltimore County Fire Department has a contract with Change Healthcare Optum for EMS billing. On February 21st, 2024, Change Healthcare Optum experienced a cybersecurity event which has prevented them from conducting EMS billing services. Baltimore County receives approximately $3 million in revenue monthly for EMS transports. If unable to bill for EMS transports, Baltimore County stands to lose a significant amount of revenue. Furthermore, insurance companies have strict guidelines regarding timely filing. This contract covers EMS billing services at a fee of 3.95% of the net collected revenue. Emergency Service Transporter Supplemental Payment Program, or ESPP, program management at a fee of 12% of the ESPP funding received by the county for each reporting period, and Medicare Ground Ambulance Data Collection System reporting program management for a flat fee of $35,000. This emergency contract is a one-year term with an option for an additional one-year renewal.
Thank you, Chief. Any members, Councilman Hurtel?
I have a question. Chief, the new contractor, will they be able to bill for services dating back to February of 2024?
Yes, so they will bill retroactively to March 1st of 2024.
Okay, but not before that. Where did we come up with this? Because obviously we've been billing it and there was no cost associated with us. I mean, obviously there's a cost, there's always a cost, but now we're paying a subcontractor to do it. How do we know their pricing's fair?
So the existing contract with Change Healthcare contains a range of percentages that they charge for EMS billing services, from 3.25% to 5.90% of the net revenue. So it depends on the monthly transports. So roughly the county is billed 3.25% per transport monthly because we've met that minimum monthly threshold of transports, somewhere in the ballpark of 40,000 transports. So under the proposed contract with Digitech, the county will pay a firm fee of 3.95% regardless of the number of billed transports.
Okay. And do we bill it internally currently, or do we pay another contractor to do that? Like, is this a replacement?
It's replacing Optum Healthcare, yes.
Okay. And you said that. And if there was a data breach back in the spring, is there any responsibility for the current contractor for dealing with that?
Yes, sir. So the county has a contractual agreement as well as a business associates agreement that requires the prior contractor to notify and provide remediation efforts to impacted individuals.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Rochelle, Councilman Young?
On adding to Councilman Hurtel's question related to, the company that we're talking to will be able to bill back to February 2024. You mentioned the insurance company have strict guidelines.
Yes, sir.
So is that going to affect, well, the company might be able to bill, but is that going to affect the insurance company's willingness to pay, or is that not going to have, we're not going to have that issue?
It depends on the insurance company.
So there's a potential.
That's my understanding.
But there is a potential that some may not be able to be.
Most are within a 12-month period, which falls within that time period.
Understood.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions for Chief Ebert? Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Next item, we're going to hear from Captain DeVito on UDS.
Good evening, council members. I'm Battalion Chief DeVito. The Baltimore County Fire Department is submitting a contract with United Diagnostic Services, LLC, for the purpose of conducting employee cancer screenings, physicals for early detection of cancers commonly found in the fire service, both career and volunteer members. The request, once approved, would be effective from council approval until January 9, 2026, with one 3-year renewal option. The complete award covers contract for the following. This is the Assistance to Firefighter Grants that was approved last August. $1,116,000 for cancer screening, $50,000 for peer support training. That's going to be on a separate contract. $23,000 for SISM training, which is also a separate contract from what we're discussing this evening, for a total award of $1,189,000. The department estimates 744 physicals per year, total compensation not to exceed our grant line item for this service of $1,116,000. The fire department has encumbered our matching funds of $108,000, which covers the entire 10% share of the Assistance to Firefighters Grant under budget 200 CC 160000 and GR-2066, which commences upon approval of this contract. The period of performance for the Assistance for Firefighter Grants is April 14, 2023 to April 13, 2025. As we have lost a year's worth of opportunity, we plan to file an extension with FEMA in order to continue and utilize all aspects of this funding. The benefits of this program far outweigh the negatives and gives our firefighters hope for early detection and resolution of known cancers common to the fire service and its first responders.
Thank you. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. So can you talk about the potential revenue loss because of this?
Revenue loss as far as?
Well, I mean, the executive summary notes that insurance companies have strict guidelines going back to the timely filing of claims. Will the contractor be able to bill for services going back to 2024?
So basically, as soon as this contract is approved, we'll be using that money going forward. Insurance companies won't be involved. This is going to be a substitute for the insurance companies. UDS will be the company doing the screening. The way the insurance companies will get involved is if we have a positive, a member that has a positive results, that they would have to go to their primary care physician and get treatment via their personal. This is just for screening purposes.
Okay, thank you very much. I wasn't paying attention.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I wasn't paying attention.
Okay, our next item will be Faith Thomas, Chief of Real Estate
I haven't
Compliance.
got a lot on my plate today.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and council members. I have two contracts to present. The first relates to the Jennifer Branch Sewer Relief Project. The administration is requesting approval of a contract to purchase a portion of the property of Sharon Ortman, located on Lodge Road in Parkville, Maryland, to acquire 21,720 square feet for a drainage and utility easement and 22,452 square feet of temporary construction easement. The contract amount is $58,070, which is based on the appraisal conducted by Everett Benfield Associates. This is part of the project for the Jennifer Branch Relief Sewer Project. There was a question from the auditors asking about for additional details. And we are advised that JMT has been contracted by DPWT to assist with real estate acquisition services, including titles, appraisals, appraisal review, negotiations, appraisal waivers, and settlements related to 24 properties required to complete the Jennifer Branch Sewer Relief Project. JMT is performing these services under contract 2018-01, on-call sanitary sewer rehabilitation design services, Tier 2.
Thank you. And Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much, Ms. Thomas. I should have directed this to Ms. Buckler. I just wanted to thank the Department of Public Works and Transportation. There were a series of questions raised about this project from the Kearney Rod and Gun Club, and we received responses in a timely manner. And with that, I have no problem supporting this contract. Thank you.
The next contract relates to the Windsor Mill project. The administration is requesting approval of a contract to acquire land and easement access spanning approximately 0.03 acres for $8,665 for the construction of a sidewalk along Windsor Mill Road. Danielle R. Lawrence Grant and Justin Edward Grant currently own the property, which is located at 6701 Windsor Mill Road in Gwynn Oak. The property is zoned DR 5.5 residential. The acquired land will be used for a highway widening area, and the easement will be used for a temporary construction area. The county and the property owners accepted a negotiated price of $8,665, including an additional $1,444 for adverse impacts for landscaping. In total, 100 acquisitions are needed for this project for all phases. And following approval of the proposed acquisition, approximately 8 remaining Phase 1 acquisitions will require county approval.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Do any of the members have any comments or questions? Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you so much.
Short thing. Okay, our next item will be Jonathan Sachs for 2 contracts.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. 2 contracts here, both related to the Maryland Works for Wind program. Baltimore County, through the Department of Economic and Workforce Development, was awarded a sub-grant for the Maryland Works for Wind project, awarded under the Maryland Department of Labor from the U.S. Economic Development Agency Good Jobs Challenge Grant. Maryland Works for Wind is a regional consortium committed to establishing Maryland as the country's premier destination for offshore wind training, fabrication, and employment. The project includes a robust sectoral partnership inclusive of employers, unions, local workforce development areas, business alliances, and trading providers. Baltimore County is the lead convener of the industry sector partnership tasked with leading the project in the Central Maryland region. Key priorities of the grant are to provide job seeker support through outreach and recruitment, create a youth awareness campaign, and develop career pathways in the emerging industry. This contract allows Baltimore County to analyze the needs and career pathway opportunities within the emerging industry of offshore wind, to provide informed outreach, awareness, and recruitment support to job seekers, youth, training providers, and employers in the targeted industries. The contract also supports the grant deliverable of creating career pathway guides for offshore wind and its 3 sub-industries of skilled trades, manufacturing, and transportation, distribution, and logistics. The contractor will inventory and analyze offshore wind and its sub-industries, develop career pathways within the industries through outreach to employers, training providers, and stakeholders, and provide technical assistance, communication, and training to interpret and implement the results.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Councilman
I do, Mr. Chair, but there's another item that Mr. Sachs will testify on, so I'll wait until after that.
Okay.
On the same lines.
Gotcha. Okay, go ahead, Mr.
Do you want me to go to the second item? Perfect. So the second item is with the same Maryland Works for Wind program. So the first one was on identifying key industries and workers. This contract allows the county to spread awareness of the emerging industry and conduct strategic outreach to attract target populations under the WIOA and Maryland State's Workforce Plan. The contract also supports the grant deliverable of creating career pathway guides for offshore wind and its 3 sub-industries of skilled trades, manufacturing and transportation, distribution, and logistics. The contractor here will provide marketing services encompassing creative services, outreach campaign development, and media outreach strategy development and placement. So these 2 contracts work together.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Councilman Crandall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Sachs, thank you very much for your work on this. Just for my colleagues, this body and the administration have taken rather extraordinary measures in the past to support the development at Trade Point Atlantic, the old Bethlehem Steel site, and I think we've all been aware of the success so far of the development, the number of jobs that are already there and those that are still coming. Trade Point just recently issued an economic impact or the results of an economic impact study on the potential of the port terminal operation to be able to take containers at two more berths at Trade Point Atlantic. I believe their estimate inside of the study said about 8,000 jobs created by the cargo terminal project. I believe that's on-site jobs, longshoreman jobs, as well as ancillary jobs related to port activity. So that would represent major growth for the whole Port of Baltimore operation and allow the region to grow from that aspect. And then the importance of the future of wind energy to Baltimore County and specifically to Southeast Baltimore County in terms of job creation it is a potentially lucrative and impactful industry for our county and our region. We have the opportunity to be, as Mr. Sachs mentioned, to be the hub for the entire East Coast, if not beyond, for the construction of and implementation of offshore wind. That industry is sort of in its nascent form, certainly on the East Coast, and I think our country as a whole is a little bit behind other European nations in adopting wind. The technology is always getting better to make wind energy a more viable alternative energy, and the amount of jobs and the type of jobs, should we reach the potential of becoming that hub that I just mentioned, would just it would greatly impact our skilled trade sector. And I appreciate Mr. Sachs and the administration's foresight in seeing the potential of wind energy for the state of Maryland and Baltimore County. I think it could be a very important step for us economically as we further transition into a new economy burgeoned by different market sectors than we've ever had before in Baltimore County. So thank you again, Mr. Sachs. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Any additional comments, questions? Councilman Marks, did you have, okay. Hey, Mr. Sachs, I just want to say you've done an excellent job in the couple of months that you've been here. You've actually, in my view, set a new bar for economic development directors. You've really, it's impressive that you are doing exactly what you said when we spoke, and you talked a good game, and now you're doing a good game. So thank you very much for all of your efforts. I've seen you in the community more in the few months that you've been here, more than I've seen any other economic development director. So thank you very much for your fine efforts.
I agree.
Thank you, sir. Honored to serve. Thank you.
I don't know if you heard that, but Councilman Marks echoes my comments.
Thank you.
I hope so. You're going to stick around with us, right?
Yes.
Okay. And waiting in the wind is Miss Deb Schendel, who's also an excellent director. Waiting in the wing, I think is the correct expression.
Good evening, Councilman, Chair, and members of the County Council. The administration is requesting an approval of a purchase order with the American Asphalt Paving Company in the amount of $500,000, including contingency for all the labor, materials, tools, equipments, and supervision for a multi-purpose court renovation at 7 District Elementary. The purchase order has a 25% MBE goal, and the actual vendor themselves is an MBE vendor. The terms of the contract will be executed upon the approval of the County Council for consideration. This is a one-time buy with a sole source for the current from the current contract that we had. There was a weather delay last year. This is a project that was supposed to be done last year. And unfortunately, we had a weather delay. We do have a new contract coming to you next month, but because of school, we really wanted to complete this project as we committed to the school system last year so the community can get this multi-purpose court and tennis court possibly done before September for school. I can take any questions if you'd like.
Members have any, thank you, Ms. Schindel. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share? Okay, thank you, Ms. Schindel.
Okay, I got two more, sir.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. The administration is requesting approval of contract for Home Paramount Pest Control Company. It provides the pest control services for county-owned buildings and operated, or that are operated through Baltimore County. We do have a not to exceed of $907,592.67 for the life of the contract. This is a 1 year with 4 1-year renewals. The goal on the MBE of this was 25%. It was competitively bid, best value, best experience, and I can take any questions about this contract if necessary.
Do any of the members have any questions for Ms. Schindel on this item? Okay, Ms. Schindel, if you want to go to the next item.
And last but not least, the administration is requesting approval of a contract for VIP Special Services LLC for window washing services at the Public Safety Building. This too is a contract that will not exceed $248,654. In the life of its contract. It's a 1 year with additional 4 1-year renewals. We do twice a year cleanings at the PSB. This is a unique building, very tall, so we have to hire a specialized company to clean. They hang off the top of the roof and they swing down to clean the windows. So it was competitively procured, best value, and lowest bid.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Schindel. Do any of the members have any questions on this item? Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Schindel.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Richardson, thank you for being patient. And you've got a couple of items. I'll tell you what, Mr. Richardson, why don't you go through all your items and then we'll see if there's any questions.
Okay, good evening, Chairman Patoka, members of the council. I have 5 contracts from Health and Human Services. First contract is for laboratory analysis and reporting on water samples. The administration is requesting your approval of a contract with the State of Maryland, Maryland Department of Health Laboratories Administration to provide laboratory analysis and reporting of water samples collected from the county's recreational waterways. The contract will commence on August 5th and continue for 1 year with 4 1-year renewals. The total compensation will not exceed $120,000 for the 5-year term. The contractor, MDE, does water samples that are collected in our recreational water program. Since 2013, it has conducted routine testing of the county's recreational waters for requests from the community. The state also annually samples the county's 5 beaches and uses the state, and we also use the state lab for analysis and reporting of the waterways on those beaches also.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
The next contract is also with the state of Maryland. The administration, we're seeking a contract with the state of Maryland Health Laboratory Administration to provide laboratory analysis administered from chlamydia and gonorrhea tests for low-income county residents. The contract will commenced on July 1, continue for 1 year with 4 1-year renewals. The state laboratory provides analysis of chlamydia and gonorrhea tests administered by the health department at our reproductive sexual health clinics to low-income county residents and uninsured and underinsured individuals. The state provides us with 2,500 free tests. This contract would be for any testing above that 2,500 tests per year. The unit price per test is $13, which was the lowest price for any labs. The next contract is a amendment to a contract, and this is for our cancer prevention, detection, and diagnosis treatment centers. We are seeking the approval of an amendment to a contract with Adventist Healthcare for cancer prevention, early detection, and diagnosis and treatment services for low-income county residents. This amendment will add colonoscopy and colposcopy services. The contract started January 16th of 2024. It continues through April 1st of 2025 and may be extended for 3 additional 1 year. The compensation is going to be limited to $60,000 for the entire 4-year and 2.5-month term. The amendment adds the 2 testing services to the current contract for cancer prevention, detection, and diagnosis. The treatment and diagnosis of breast, cervical, and lung cancer are the primary services for our cancer clinics. The next 2 contracts I'll read together. We're seeking approval for 2 contracts, one with the Pikesville Endoscopy Center and one with Dianon Systems to provide cancer prevention, early detection, and diagnosis and treatment services for low-income county residents. Both contracts will commence upon council approval and continue through April 1st of 2025 and March 30th of 2025, respectively, and may be extended for an additional 3 1-year terms. The total compensation to both contractors will not exceed $293,333. The contractors provide cancer prevention, detection, and diagnosis for low-income county residents. Specifically, the Pikesville Endoscopy Center will provide screening, diagnosis, and treatment for colorectal cancer, and Dianon Systems will provide laboratory services and detection and treatment for breast, cervical, and colorectal and lung cancer. We estimate that these 2 labs will see, or these 2 vendors will see a total of 793 clients annually. And I'll be happy to take any question on those 5 contracts.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Do any of the members have any questions on any specific contract? Councilman Marks?
You're doing a great job as well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I would concur with that,
Yeah,
Mr.
thank you.
Richardson. Thank you. Okay, and we have one other person that's doing a great job that's going to see us, and he's been waiting patiently, Mr. Kavanaugh.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the council. My name is Tucker Kavanaugh. I'm the Assistant Deputy County Administrative Officer for Economic Development and Infrastructure. I'm also the Place-Based Initiative Coordinator, which is relevant to this contract. So the administration is seeking to acquire the Woodlawn Village parking lot property at 2101 Gwynn Oak Avenue at the southwest corner of Windsor Mill Road and Gwynn Oak Avenue in Woodlawn Village. The proposed purchase price is $350,000 and would be funded with federal ARPA dollars. This is a strategic acquisition to foster economic revitalization in Woodlawn Village. As the kickoff of the administration's place-based initiative there, we solicited input from local stakeholders, residents, and business owners in the area. The top priority identified from that input was accessible public parking. This acquisition would secure this parking lot as a public asset, making public parking permanently accessible in Woodlawn Village and to facilitate residents and customers visiting Woodlawn Village and supporting small local businesses in the commercial revitalization district. We humbly request the council moves favorable on this contract and welcome any questions or comments you may have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kavanaugh, and thank you for briefing me on the acquisition.
My pleasure.
For this hearing. Do any of the members, Councilman Young?
Just want to thank Mr. Kavanaugh. The communication was what you've been working on and focus on the Woodlawn corridors.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Kavanaugh, a couple quick questions.
On that corner currently, there are buildings. Are they coming down? Is that the plan, or I know there's a parking lot behind the buildings, or
Right, so there's
parking spaces anyway, but.
Right, there's two buildings. One is like an old shed that's in the parcel that we'd be acquiring. That would come down. There's also a house on the corner, or a little down from the corner. We wouldn't be acquiring that.
Okay. Are there additional costs beyond the buying the lot?
Sure, so there's planned improvements to the lot. Actually, I'm glad you asked that question. So the planning department is engaged in a streetscaping project in Woodlawn Village that's also ARPA funded. And the scope of that project includes this parcel. So we would, through that project and already allocated funding, through ARPA, would fund the improvements to that lot. So like repaving, for example, yeah.
But we're not taking down the front, we're not taking down the frontage on.
You mean like the brick wall with the swan
Well,
sign?
there's buildings currently on that corner. I
think we may be talking about different corners. There's a brick wall.
Catty corner from it, on the other side.
Okay, all right. So we don't have to take any buildings down, we're just.
There's like a small shed. We'd have to take that down.
Other than the shed. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kavanaugh, appreciate it. We have, you were the penultimate item, and our final item will be Mr. Benjamin, James Benjamin. Contract.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the council.
Good evening.
The administration is requesting approval of two contracts, one with John M. Haynes Jr. doing business as Insurance Appraisal Company of Maryland, the other with Michael Quick doing business as Quick Appraisals to provide vehicle damage estimating services on behalf of the Office of Law's Liability Claims Management Unit. Each contract commences upon council approval, continues for 1 year, and will renew automatically for 4 additional 1-year periods, with the option to extend the initial term or any renewal term by an additional 120 days. Funds will be encumbered each year by purchase order. The contracts provide that compensation may not exceed the amount appropriated for these services for the entire contract term. It is advised that the estimated compensation for both contractors combined totals $30,000 for the entire 5-year and 4-month term, including the renewal and extension periods. The contractors will provide vehicle damage estimating services and will provide all time, material, labor, and incidentals required to perform the work. The Liability Claims Management Unit will assign work to the contractors on a rotating basis. Contracts provide that if the estimating service is not paid within 24 hours after receipt of the order, the county may procure the service elsewhere, in which event the extra cost of procuring the service may be charged against the contractors. The contracts do not guarantee any minimum amount of work. The county will be billed for vehicle damage estimating services at unit prices ranging from $50 to $810 per estimate, depending on the type, example, a car, a truck, motorcycle, water vessel, as well as the weight of the vehicle, the extent of the damage, and the contractor. You should know that the council previously approved 2 similar contracts on August 5th, 2019 with these same contractors, not to exceed $35,000. The county's financial system indicated that as of July 2nd, expenditures and encumbrances under the contract total $34,730, with $22,250 for Insurance Appraisal Company of Maryland and $12,480 for Quick Appraisals. These agreements will replace these two previously approved contracts, which are set to expire October 30th, 2024, and the county may terminate the agreements by providing 30 days prior written notice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benjamin. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Benjamin? Okay, hearing none, this will conclude today's work session. Thank you, everyone, for hanging in there.
Thank you all.